Also, May is National Pet Month, and to celebrate, the Town of Islip Animal Shelter is offering reduced adoption fees. Dogs and cats are reduced to $70, which covers vaccinations and microchipping. So please stop by our animal shelter and consider giving an animal a loving, forever home. Some of those, I'm afraid to go in there sometimes because I'm afraid I'm going to come out with the dog. So, but they're really, really lovely. The third week in May is National Police Week, and I know Suffolk County Police Department schedules all kinds of events to celebrate that, and we'd like to recognize all police officers around the country, and particularly our Suffolk County police officers, for their dedication and commitment to the communities they serve and protect, and to those who live within them. Police officers put their lives on the line every day to keep each of us and our loved ones safe so that we can return home to our families every day, and hope that they too return safely to their families. And tomorrow, Wednesday, May 15th, is National Police Officers Memorial Day. This is very fitting here in the town of Islip because on Thursday, May 16th, the Town of Islip Public Safety Division will graduate its second class of Town of Islip police officers trained right here in Islip Town. The peace officers have completed a New York State approved program taught by our own Public Safety Commissioner, Tony D'Amico, and members of his staff, who are New York State Division Criminal Justice Service certified and approved instructors. The officers will be assigned to Lowell MacArthur Airport and various posts throughout the town. And it's appropriate that today we are recognizing two of our own Islip peace officers. And I just ask Code Enforcement Officer Brown if he would come forward. There he is. And we're recognizing him along with Anthony Musumeci, our park ranger, who unfortunately is not here today. But Officer Brown immediately came to the aid of someone that was in distress. He noticed a man lying on the south platform of the Bayshore Railroad Station with bystanders around him. Officer Brown called out to the witnesses and asked if the man was having a problem, and they replied yes. Officer Brown immediately notified dispatch of his location and requested that rescue respond to the victim. Officer Brown utilized the pedestrian bridge to reach the victim. You know, in Bayshore we have that bridge that goes over the tracks. So he ran over the bridge, got over there. A few minutes later, Officer Anthony Musumeci arrived on the scene, and together the two officers were able to move the victim away from the platform's edge. He was having a seizure, so, you know, it's likely had they not gotten in, there in time, if it wasn't for Christian's quick thinking, he may have easily gone on to the track. So with the help, together the two of them, with the help of the Suffolk County police officer, they were able to move the victim from the platform into an ambulance where he was transported to a local hospital where he was treated and is now fine. So please join me in recognizing our Town of Islip Code Enforcement Officer, Christian Brown. We are going to be having some honorees now presented by Councilwoman Mary Kate Mullen, and they are from Suffolk County Girl Scouts. Kate? Oh, there she is.
Thank you, Supervisor Carpenter. Our next set of honorees are Girl Scouts who've achieved the highest ranking in all of Girl Scouting, Gold Award Girl Scout. Sophia Bates of East Islip and Catherine O'Neill of Islip Terrace achieved this award by completing the following 7 steps. You need to complete all of these steps in order to get the Gold Award. First, they identify an issue, investigate it thoroughly, build a team, create a plan, present the plan and gather feedback, take action, educate and inspire. Sophia renovated the outdoor Stations of the Cross at St. Peter the Apostle Church, and Catherine crocheted hats for the Lighthouse Mission for distribution to the homeless. Please join me in thanking and honoring these 2 young women.
Good afternoon again, and we will begin our meeting with the scheduled public hearings for the board's consideration. I'd ask JR if he would please read the first hearing notice.
The Town Board of the Town of Islip will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, May 14th, 2019, at 2 p.m. at Islip Town Hall, 655 Main Street, Islip, New York, 1175, to consider amending the Uniform Traffic Code of the Town of Islip.
Okay, are there any questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion to close that public hearing and adopt the change.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Bergen, second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. JR, if you would please read the next hearing notice.
The next hearing is to consider amending Local Law Number 8-2013, Chapter 19 of the Islip Town Code entitled Fire Prevention.
Are there any questions? Hearing none, motion? A motion by Councilwoman Mullen. We need to
Close the public hearing.
close the public
Adopt
hearing
the-
and make the motion to adopt the changes. So we have a motion by Councilwoman Mullen, second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved. Okay, we will then go to the public portion. Just to remind everyone that you have 3 minutes to address the board with your concerns. Not a question and answer, we're here to listen. And if you would, the first speaker, Patty Montanino.
Okay, Pat Montanino, East Islip. I'm here again today to shed light upon issues being shoved down the throats of residents in Islip Town. Actually, it's called Smoke and Mirrors Con. Taxpayers need to know the con job being dealt to them in Brentwood, the forgotten town. Clemente Park being fed to the residents is sad. Now the board has stated they're fast-tracking a spray park. Let me enlighten you on the spray park for Brentwood residents. Supervisor Carpenter did not, nor did any other board member, think of this spray park. It was introduced as a project back in 2009. The board even had a photo contest that preyed upon young residents to draw a picture of the spray park of what it should look like. That was August 31st, 2009. The final layout will be chosen by students from local schools, providing them an opportunity to be an active role in their community. It stated they even got a $5,000 grant for the pool, but none of it ever happened. Now we're going to fast forward. Supervisor Carpenter and her driver, DPW Commissioner, have told the residents that they have fast-tracked the project for the Brentwood residents, but they failed to say that this project was already introduced by prior administrations. And unfortunately, they picked a company which had numerous upon numerous problems in the building of the spray park in Bay Shore. This company, Noberto Pools, should never have been allowed to participate in any project again. When the company was building Pirates Cove in Bay Shore, they had overwhelming issues, major issues that they refused to address. The pool had been in continued disrepair, and according to Town Councilman John Cochran, Noberto had not answered repeated attempts to get them fixed and the numerous long and deep cracks and paint the pool before the season's opening. Now, Tuesday, May 22nd, 2012, the Islip Town Board voted to declare a maintenance bond for the Benjamin Beach project because they were in default. The project was cracking and separating, and the repairs, they just poured paint into the cracks. They never fixed them. A young child had gotten internal injuries and was taken by ambulance, hospitalized, had surgery because of faulty jet sprays put in by Noberto Pools. The town did not even shut the pool down or drain the blood out of the water from the little girl. They never reported it to the health department. A notice of claim was filed by the parents of the injured child. Now they want $1 million more to build. Operation of the pool, every pool should be maintained
Thank you.
and cleaned.
Ms. Montanino, thank you
Well,
for bringing this history forward.
I would just like you to reiterate that now you know why the residents want their own representation in Brentwood, because the town refuses to acknowledge them. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Montanino. Next speaker, Robert Burke.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
This is my third meeting with you folks, and it's about,
If you could, Mr. Burke, for the record, if you would just state your name and where you live.
Robert W. Burke, B-U-R-K-E. The address is number 12 Riviera Court in Great River, 11739.
Thank you.
And the problem I'm having is with the property at number 8. It has turned into a junkyard of sorts for boats and marine-related equipment. And it's just become onerous. It's profoundly disturbing. Those boats, for 3 years, they've been there without moving from one place to another. They're not, some of them are not capable of being waterborne. They're derelicts. They're all salvage out of New York Harbor. They're toxic. And although we were all familiar with the Roberto Clemente toxicity, this is toxicity of another standard. It's just incredible. There are other things besides boats. There's a commercial shrink wrap equipment on property, on the driveway. There's a snow plow that attaches to a truck similar to the town's trucks that clear the snow. Now the plow is removed. That's residing in the driveway for the summer because, of course, there's no snow. The truck resides in the street with passenger plates on it, by the way. I have just provided Councilman O'Connor with a photocopy. Code enforcement says that all those boats have an attendance to that address. That's absolutely wrong. With the cooperation of the Suffolk Police, out of the 10 boats that are there, at least 5 of them have no reg numbers. One is a documented hull, which unless you're familiar with boats, you would not recognize, but a document is a federal indication of ownership, usually reserved for vessels that travel internationally. It's a retired law enforcement boat from one of the Carolinas. It's been fixed in position for 3 years. I tolerated this for 3 years because it enabled the attempt to be cordial. I allowed that to go on. When I spoke to him about it, the continuance of it, I told him that local real estate had told me not to try to sell my property because there was a 20% impact on my property due to that junkyard. So I have expired my time, I guess. The other thing, if I may extend, I have requested, and sadly I haven't had the opportunity, I wanted to talk to the supervisor independently. I'm disappointed that there is no more executive session. When I was part of this option here in town, I was administrative officer in the precinct, and I was present at all the meetings.
All right, Mr. Burke, you really have gone beyond your time, but to your point about wanting to speak with me, please stop in the office and make an appointment. I'd be happy to discuss it, okay?
Twice,
Well,
gone to constituent services.
well, I'd ask that you do that one more time and make that appointment.
Yeah,
And if you have any new information, because I know that code enforcement has been out there at least 3 times, and each time that they went, there are valid registrations on all those, boats. So if you have new information, we'd be happy to review it. But again, time is up. We have other speakers, but we'll discuss it further. Thank you for coming down. Next speaker, Greg Pepe.
Greg Pepe, Islip, New York. At the February 2019 board meeting, the supervisor, along with the town attorney, brought to the attention that Mr. Cochran divested his interest in the shellfish lease agreement that he has with the town of Islip. But what you see in front of you is from the Department of State, Division of Corporations, current through May 9th, 2019, that the entity, J.A. Cochran and Son, is still a viable corporation. Now let's turn to the next page, where it says term of the agreement, Article 2. This is a 5-year term. It commenced on August 5th, 2016, to expire on the 31st day of August 2021. Unless sooner, terminated by mutual written consent. Now let's turn to the first foil that I had submitted on February 15, 2019. And that foil was for the said term letter of consent, written consent letter to terminate this lease agreement. And on April 5th, if you turn that over, Ms. Hahn from the attorney's office said that after a diligent search, there are no known documents that are responsive to your request. Next, foil was submitted also on February 2nd. That was the Ethics Board decision of Councilman Cochran as far as being project manager of the town-owned property of Bay Bottom Land, parcel number AX4. Okay, and if we turn that over, it says in the back, signed off by Ms. Hahn, that this is exempted by statute other than the Freedom of Information Law. And also that I should refer to the Islip Town Code Law, Chapter 14, Article 7, subsection 14-24. Let's go to the next page of that chapter of the Ethics Code Financial Disclosure Law. Letter G, all requests for advisory opinions or interpretations of all complaints, investigations, or proceedings shall be deemed confidential. Okay, let's go to the next page, which shows, I'm sorry. Which is the Article 4 Conflicts of Interest Prohibited Exceptions, which states that no officer or employee of any corporation shall be directly or indirectly involved in any of the agencies. Being the shellfish is part of such an agency of the town of Islip, which is the DEC. Now, my next concern is for next month's meeting is that Mr. Bars, who's here today, I'd like to know he was able to obtain the Ethics Board decision when it came to Mr. Cochran's involvement with the electrical inspection company, being that Mr. Camposano's law office is in Deer Park and uses Pitney Bowes as the metered stamp that's on his envelope versus the attorney's office, which uses Hassler for their metered stamping.
Could you wrap up, please?
So with that, I expect next month should be very interesting when it comes to the other conflict of interest.
Thank you so much, Mr. Pepe.
Supervisor, just so the record's clear.
Sure.
What we did say at the February meeting, and we stand by today, that Councilman Cochran is no longer involved in J.A. Cochran and Sons.
Thank you for that clarification. Next speaker, Andy Cross.
Andy Cross, Bay Shore, New York. And once again, I'm here about the New York State law line on my property tax bill. Although down this year, it should have gone down 3 years ago. With that tax going down 3 years ago and this year's decrease, the tax would be off the tax bill. And what happened to all the extra money for 3 years? Where did it all go? Last time, it was the controller who said all the money from bonding for the park cleanup stayed at Casamento. What does that mean? Does that mean the $400,000 no-bid contract to measure air around the park, which the same company that charged Brookhaven Town $40,000 to check the air around Brookhaven landfill, and the park being 5 acres and the dump being over 200? So why was $400,000 a no-bid contract, and the same company did a thing around Brookhaven landfill, which is, what, 20 times the size? All the new park police and the park police cars are being charged to Casamento? Is that what's happening? The Parks Department cutting grass on other than park properties in the town, and is that being paid at Casamento? And whatever else you have called park responsibility have you tacked on? For example, the park police are here policing this action right here today. Is that being charged to Casamento? Did you get a redacted report from the controller about the 7% increase that you said was 4%? And the 4% put in place of what was outright, or was it an outright lie, half-truth, or just plain propaganda? Was the controller given a $20,000 or $30,000 raise for his part-time job? And this is what we get, lies, half-truths, and propaganda? He should be fired. It all seems all you want to do is raise taxes 41, 51, 7%, that's 4%, and take donations from politically connected donors like Daytree and Heartland, and build a town of Islip taxpayers. And why should the Islip town taxpayers even subsidize the future apartment dwellers' rent at Heartland with tax breaks? Couldn't have said it better myself.
Thank you, Mr. Cross.
No rebuttal?
Thank you so much for coming down. And just for the record, the controller is more than a full-time position and does a marvelous job. Next speaker, Harrison Bench.
Harrison Bench, Collins Avenue, Sayville, New York. Hi, everyone. It's been a few months since I've been here. I wanted to start before I actually have something to hand out to everyone by thanking you guys so much for the fast movement on the NYSERDA Clean Energy Community Program certification process with the 4 high impact action items. And I know the commissioner's been doing such a great job, along with the deputy commissioner, on getting that fast forwarded and getting all of the resolutions approved and all of the certifications signed. So what I'm handing up right now, I don't know if any of you recall, but in 2009, the town of Islip passed a comprehensive climate action plan. Not as comprehensive as the climate action plan that I'm showing you all today, but I felt that in order to fully outline what we could and should, and maybe can have future discussions about what we could do with climate action in the future, I drafted what you're all seeing in front of you. It is a, how you say, I guess, mock resolution. It has some pretty ambitious stuff in there, and I'm not going to lie, pretty over-ambitious for me too. But it is my hope and my group's hope that over the next few months, maybe you could look at this document, highlight the things that you support, highlight the things that you can't support. We'll meet with you, we'll talk about it, and maybe we could get the ball rolling with at least something with renewable energy or green spaces or sustainability director or a sustainability committee, because every small step does add up, and it may seem weird that a teenager is here speaking about this today, but I do care very passionately about this issue, as you all know. But again, I'm here to not argue with you, not throw things at you, not demand things, but to have a discussion with you guys, to have a civil discussion about what we can be doing. And I appreciate all of your cooperation. So expect an email from me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Harrison, and I'll be sure to share this with the commissioner if you haven't already done so.
Thank you.
Thank you. That is the last speaker. Motion to close public hearing. Public portion, rather. Motion by Councilwoman Bergen, second by Councilwoman Mullen. All those in favor, opposed, the public portion is closed. We will now go to the agenda. First item on the agenda this afternoon are the appropriation transfers. Are there any questions? Motion by Councilman Cochran. Second by Councilwoman Bergen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved. Next are the bid awards. Any questions? Hearing none. Motion? Motion by Councilwoman Mullen, second
Second.
by Councilwoman Bergen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Item 3, the option year resolutions.
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Bergen, second
Second.
by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Next item on the agenda are the cleanup and board-up resolutions. Up, there you are.
Good afternoon, Madam Supervisor, members of the Town Board, Town Clerk, Taryn Brzezinski, Assistant Town Attorney, 655 Main Street, Islip. Number 1, to board and clean up the premises located at 8 Drayton Avenue, Bayshore. On this vacant and unsecured property, there now exists unsecured windows and doors with unregistered vehicles, high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Cochran,
Second.
second by Councilwoman Mullen. All those in favor?
Abstain.
Opposed? We have 4 in favor, 1 abstention. Next.
Number 2, to board and clean up the premises located at 10 South 3rd Street, Bayshore. On this vacant and unsecured property, there now exists unsecured windows and doors with high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilwoman Mullen, second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor?
Abstain.
4 in favor, 1 abstention by Councilwoman Bergen. The motion is approved.
Number 3, to board and clean up the premises located at 33 East Sycamore Street, Central Islip. On this vacant and unsecured property, there now exists unsecured windows and doors with high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Any questions?
I just have a quick question.
Sure.
Taryn, it looks from the photos that it's already boarded up. Are we changing anything?
So there's a
boarded up?
window on the right-hand side, and I think the back door isn't to HUD standards. So it would just be those 2 boards that would have to be.
Any other questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed?
Abstain, sorry.
We have 4 in favor, 1 abstention by Councilwoman Bergen. The resolution is approved.
Number 4 has been withdrawn as it is now in compliance. Number 5, to clean up the premises located at 92 Ocean Avenue, Bayshore. On this property, there now exists high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilwoman Mullen. All those in favor?
Abstain.
1 abstention. The motion is approved.
Number 6, the board and clean up the premises located at 867 Breedbelt Parkway West, Holbrook. On this vacant and unsecured property, there now exists unsecured windows and doors, an unsecured above-ground pool with high grass, overgrown vegetation, and litter and debris, which constitutes a nuisance and presents a fire, safety, and health hazard. Notice of this hearing was provided to all known persons with a property interest in this premises.
Are there any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion to approve by Councilwoman Mullen, second by Councilman O'Connor.
Abstain.
We have a motion and a second, one abstention, all in favor. Motion is approved.
Thank you.
Taryn, I just want to thank you for all of your efforts, and we just got notice the other day, and you were very helpful in putting that together. We got a grant from the state. We heard about it, and you got right on it, and we were able to secure over $300,000 in our efforts for these kinds of endeavors. So we thank you and wish you good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we move now to item number 5, is the meeting of the Town of Islip Industrial Development Agency. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? The meeting is convened, a quorum being present. Mr. Mannix?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the agency board. We have a number of items on the agenda for today, the first of which is the approval of the minutes from the April 16th meeting. Motion.
Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilwoman Bergen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved.
Next, we have an inducement resolution. This is a new project for Edgewood Land and Executive Land Corp. located at 80 Wilshire Boulevard in Edgewood. This involves the construction of a 231,000 square foot industrial spec building that will eventually house 80 employees, and it represents an investment of $11.4 million.
Any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilwoman Mullen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved.
Next three items on the agenda are authorizing resolutions that appeared before you as inducements at the previous meeting. The first one is for JP Express Services, which is a trunking company that is moving to 131 Hoffman Lane in Islandia.
Any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Bergen. Second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved.
Next is an authorizing resolution for TJ Russo Consultants, a forensic consulting firm moving to 155 Oval Drive, also in Islandia.
Are there any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilwoman Mullen, second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved.
And the next item is an authorizing resolution for Nether Bay LLC, located at 26 and 36 South Clinton Avenue in Bay Shore. This is a memory care assisted living facility.
Motion by
Second.
Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilwoman Bergen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved.
Number 7 on the agenda is a resolution authorizing an agreement between the agency and Brightview Sable. This is actually an amendment to the lease agreement that we have, releasing a small parcel of land to the New York State DOT for right-of-way purposes for that project, which is located along the South Service Road of Sunrise Highway.
Any questions? Motion? Motion by Councilman Mullen, second
Second.
by Councilwoman Bergen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved.
Next item on the agenda is a resolution authorizing a sponsorship between the agency and JVC Broadcasting involving the Long Island News evening show. We are looking to enter into an agreement for marketing and advertising for a term between May 15th, 2019 and the end of the year for a $10,000 fee.
Any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Cochran, second. Second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved.
Next item is a preliminary inducement resolution. I want to stress the preliminary inducement part. This involves Tritech Bayshore, which is a proposed housing project in Bayshore. It represents a $195 million investment. The project, the language in the preliminary inducement resolution has a lot of subject to language associated with it, subject to secret zoning approval and a feasibility study.
Great. Any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Mullen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved.
The last item on the agenda is related to the previous item. It's a resolution authorizing a contract between the agency and National Development Council for the production of a feasibility study at which the agency will be the contract vendee and the applicant will actually pay for the study.
Any questions?
Motion.
Motion by
Second.
Councilman Cochran, second by Councilwoman Bergen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Motion to adjourn the agency
Motion.
meeting by Councilwoman Bergen, second by Councilwoman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? The Islip Industrial Development Agency is adjourned. We now move to an authorization, item number 6, for the town clerk to advertise for public hearing on the transfer of 73 Hyde Park Avenue in Bay Shore under the CDA's direct sale affordable housing program. Any questions? Motion?
Motion?
Motion by Councilwoman Mullen, second.
Second.
By Councilman Cochran. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved. Next item on the agenda is the meeting of the Town of Islip Foreign Trade Zone. Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Bergen, second. By Councilwoman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? The Foreign Trade Zone Board meeting is convened, a quorum being present. Mr. Hemingway.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the Foreign Trade Zone Board. My name is Brad Hemingway, and I'm the Executive Director for the Town of Islip Foreign Trade Zone Authority, located at 1 Trade Zone Drive in Ronkonkoma. Just 2 items for your consideration this afternoon. First item being approval of the minutes from the February 12th, 2019 meeting of the Town of Islip Foreign Trade Zone Authority Board.
We have a motion. Motion by Councilwoman
Second.
Mullen, second by Councilwoman Bergen. All those in favor? Opposed? The minutes are approved.
Second and last is the authorization for the Town of Islip Foreign Trade Zone Authority to enter into a 3-year contract with Quinn & Finer Service Company as a service and maintenance provider for our heating and cooling system.
Any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilwoman Mullen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved. Motion to adjourn the Foreign Trade Zone
Motion.
Board by Councilman Bergen, second by Councilman O'Connor. It stands adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we move to item number 8, authorization for supervisor to apply for and accept grant funding from the New York State Department of Criminal Justice to be used for equipment that will enhance the Town of Islip Harbor Patrol Division's response to the needs of the community. Any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Bergen, second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. We move now to item 9, authorization for supervisor to enter into a 5-year extension for license agreement for 8 parcels of town-owned Bay Bottom land for the purpose of shellfish cultivation in the Great South Bay. Any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Bergen, second. Second by Councilman O'Connor. All those in favor? Okay, we have 1 abstention, 1 recusal, 3 in favor. The motion passes. Item number 10, the next item is an authorization for the supervisor to enter into a license agreement with Chris Karenji for 1 parcel of town-owned Bay Bottom land for the purpose of shellfish cultivation in the Great South Bay. Any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Bergen, second. I'll second the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
We have 4 in favor, 1 recusal. The motion passes. Item 11, authorization for the supervisor to enter into an agreement with Sixto Portilla, Ph.D., to provide an oyster gardening program for 2019. Any questions?
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Bergen. Second. By Councilwoman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Next, we move to item 12, meeting of the Town of Islip Resource Recovery Agency. Motion to convene by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilwoman Mullen. All in favor, opposed. The agency meeting is convened, a quorum being present. Good afternoon, Mr. Baloo.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the Board of the Resource Recovery Agency.
I hope you were here to hear all those wonderful compliments you got from Harrison Bench on your efforts, and we really do appreciate it. I know the board is very much aware of what's been going on and really has appreciated all of the efforts on the behalf of climate change, because everyone knows we're committed to making a difference.
Thank you. I have a few items for consideration. Approval of the minutes of the March 19, 2019 agency board meeting.
Motion to approve the minutes by Councilman Cochran, second
Second.
by Councilman Bergen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. The minutes are approved.
I have an authorizing resolution for the president to execute an agreement between the agency and EFPB Group, CPAs, to provide compilation and agreed-upon procedures services for deferred compensation plan for the employees of the Islip Resource Recovery Agency for the calendar years ending December 31st, 2018 through December 31st, 2023.
Motion.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Bergen, second by Councilwoman Mullen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved. Any other business?
That concludes the...
Hearing none, motion to adjourn by Councilman O'Connor, second by Councilman Cochran. All those in favor, opposed, the agency board meeting is adjourned. Thank you. Item 13, authorization for the supervisor to enter an agreement with Suffolk County Department of Public Works to install 2 emergency vehicle sign assemblies with flashing beacons on Suffolk Avenue at Pineville Road. Any questions?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Cochran, second
Second.
by Councilwoman Bergen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved. Item 14, Town Board acceptance of funds from the Suffolk County Water Authority for the paving restoration of Evelyn Road, Church Lane, and Sylvan Court in West Islip. Any questions? Hearing none. Motion
Motion.
by Councilwoman Mullen, second
Second.
by Councilwoman Bergen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is approved. Item 15 is an authorization for the supervisor to enter into an agreement with Long Island Growers Market LLC to provide 27 Saturdays of a farmer's market to be held at 655 Main Street in Islip, just east of us in the parking lot. Very, very popular farmer's market. Any questions?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Cochran.
Second.
By Councilwoman Bergen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Next is an authorization for the supervisor to enter into various agreements for programs to be held throughout the town of Islip to be funded by either registration or grant fees. Any questions?
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Bergen, second by Councilwoman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Item 17 is an authorization for the supervisor to execute a license agreement with Dang Barbecue for the concession at Roberto Clemente Park and Pool in Brentwood. Any questions? Motion
Motion.
by Councilman Cochran, second by Councilwoman Bergen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Item 18, authorization for supervisor to execute a license agreement with Dang Barbecue for the concession at Byron Lake Pool in Oakdale. Any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Bergen, second by Councilwoman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? Approved. Item 19, authorization with the supervisor to execute a professional services agreement with L.K. McLean Services to secure various federal, state, and county permits needed for marinas, docks, bulkhead, and beach projects across the town. Any questions? Hearing none. Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Cochran, second
Second.
by Councilwoman Bergen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Item 20, authorization for supervisor to execute an agreement with Race is Awesome to utilize the Town of Islip lifeguard personnel at the Try by the Bay event to be held August 18th at the East Islip Marina. Any questions? Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Bergen, second by Councilwoman Mullen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Item 21, authorization for supervisor to execute an agreement with Race is Awesome to provide services in relation to conducting the Northwell Health Great South Bay Run on September 28th, 2019. Any questions?
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Cochran, second
Second.
by Councilwoman Bergen. All those in favor? Opposed? It is approved. Item 22, authorization.
Supervisor.
I'm sorry.
For this resolution, number 22, I've spoken with the airport commissioner, and we're going to pull it at this time. We're just waiting for some further documentation from the contractor. So hopefully we get that in the next day or two, and we can put it back before the board on Thursday.
Oh, it'll
At the
change the
change of
zone.
zone.
Okay, that would be fine. So we will move then to item 23. Is an authorization for the supervisor to execute any and all documents to extend the current contract with Safety Marking, Inc. for one additional year for runway rubber and paint removal and restriping at Long Island MacArthur Airport. Any questions? Hearing none. Motion? Motion by